You have indeed read the title correctly. We are finally back here on GP Bikes doing another league race. I've been asked quite a lot to come back to GP Bikes, do some more league racing stuff, and finally we are here. Now, this race actually was a good while ago. I've been sat on this footage for months. As you can see, obviously, it is Malaysia. It actually was basically the weekend of the 2025 Malaysian GP. So it has been a little while, so I do apologise for that one. But I had lots of other videos that I kind of wanted to do, other things cropping up and things like that. So I sort of sat on this footage. We are finally back with it here, and it is my return to GP Bikes League Racing. Obviously, I've done a couple of seasons in the past on the channel, but there's been a long break where I hadn't done it. Probably a good 2 years since I'd done a league race before I did enter this one, which of course sets me up for disaster a little bit. But of course, we are here at Malaysia, one of my better tracks. So I sort of still liked my chances, despite the fact I'd come in doing very little practice and everybody else had been doing this is like round 20 of their league season. So yeah, needless to say, I was on the back foot a little bit. In the background here, you can see my fastest lap in qualifying. At the moment, we are about second underneath our personal best, although of course it does sort of differ a little bit depending on which part of the corner I was at by the looks of it. But yeah, as you will see, it certainly is tough to sort of jump back in and do this. Obviously, GP Bikes as well, a bit different to the milestone games, especially with the league racing side, because it's a lot easier to crash, I guess, effectively, because it's a lot more of a sort of a realistic game. It's also much more difficult to basically do a full race distance without making mistakes. Quite a long race, I believe this was as well. I think it was 75%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when probably my average league race back in the day would have been a bit shorter than that, probably like maybe 10 laps or so, it does make a bit of a difference. So we kind of messed up the last corner a little bit there, so I went in pretty hard. We actually lost a good bit of time to our personal best, but as we come up towards the line, what is it going to be? It was a 203.5, which at time of setting was good enough for 9th place, but as you can see towards the end of the session, we're down in 14th place. So I did say we were sort of setting ourselves up for disaster. This was going to be a pretty tricky event to sort of jump straight into. The bikes themselves, I'm not a massive fan of. I think the mod was Manu's Moto2 2025 mod, or it might be 2024, but I mean, it's the same, basically. It's just a Calyx, so it's basically the same bike. But yeah, I never really got on with it that much in any little bits of practice I did and any of the lobbies I've done, but yeah, I decided to jump back in and try my hand at it once again. So as we jump to the race now, you can see I'm approaching my grid spot at the end of the warm-up lap, because obviously that's one of the things about GP Bikes is, especially in a lot of leagues, you do have a formation and a sighting lap, and then you've got to park yourself in your grid spot, which I haven't done the best job of. But here we go, we have straightened ourselves up, and we are ready now for the start of the race. All 4 lights are on, waiting for them to go here for the Malaysian Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. And we've actually had a pretty good jump off the line. We've already overtaken a few riders there. We go past Franco on the Bitcoin bike. We're behind STBLR, I don't know how that would be pronounced, to be approach turn one. We hit the brakes a little bit early because you don't want to go steamrolling in on a wild card debut or in any race, to be quite honest with you. But we've made it through the first corner, and no, we've not. We've been taken out from behind, which if you guys remember my previous league racing experience, is a pretty common occurrence. Cutting on to lap 2 then now, you can see we're caught up to the back of another rider, Beam. We just go past him as he makes a small mistake on the curb there. We're going to be able to go around the outside into this turn. Yes, we are. So up into P20. It looks like I think he has his crash behind us again there. But yeah, obviously the incident at the first corner was not particularly helpful for our race. The pace wasn't looking great anyway. 14th in qualifying, not amazing. I must be honest, coming into the weekend, I expected at least a top 10, to be quite honest. And obviously I saw from qualifying that was going to be a tough ordeal in itself. But obviously straight on the back foot with the crash. Cutting a couple of laps later, though, we are being attacked by El Diablo. You might have seen that he did crash at the penultimate turn a couple on the previous lap as well there. He got through. We tried to get the switchback through turn 1, not able to do it, but again he goes wide through turn 2. Can we get the switchback on him once again? No, he's actually got a pretty good exit out of that corner. We're running pretty close to him there. Of course, again, another thing with me running into these league races is I'm pretty ring rusty when it comes to combat. So we're going to have a look up the inside of this corner. No, we're not. I think a little bit better of it. And we're actually being attacked a little bit from behind now. The guy that I mentioned at the beginning of the race, STBLR, he comes past us briefly there, does a bit of a wheelie. We get back up the inside of him then into the left-hander. We've run a little bit wide. He's trying to get back up the inside. He goes back through once again into the right-hander. We go back underneath him once again. So we are having one hell of a scrap here for what looks to be like 19th, 18th position. So not the place we want to be in, but got to get into some battles. Got to try and knock off that rust as I was saying earlier on in the lap. But a little bit later on now then, you see El Diablo in front, makes a big mistake, hits the curb, down he goes. I actually run wide on the AstroTurf because he completely took my my eye line with that mistake there, and I obviously got sucked in a little bit because I was too busy looking at him. A little bit later on then, we've got STBLR. I don't know how I'm going to say that without making a mistake with the letters. Go past us once again. We go back round the outside though on the brakes into turn 1. But yeah, I overcooked it, and he does manage to finally make his way through. He did look like he was a bit quicker than us previously. Obviously, did catch me napping a little bit with the El Diablo thing, but there, it did look like he had a bit more pace than me, although we are running through turn 3 pretty well now. We are gaining on him a little bit. We do know into turn 4, I'm not the strongest. Obviously, on the previous lap, I backed out of the move there, or decided better of it, should I say, to go for the move there, and it looks like the same kind of thing there, although he's run a little bit wide through there, so we're going to get the run, not quite. It's pretty similar. Exit out the corner, but into this left-hander once again. We are doing quite well, and he makes a small mistake there. He clips the curb. Well, it wasn't a small mistake. He rode on the curb, lost the front, and down he went, which moves us up another couple of positions. Cutting a lap or so later then, into turn 1, there is another rider on the deck. That puts us up to P16 there, I think, so there we go. Only one spot away from the points now, and into the hairpin, there is yet another crash. I think, who is that? It's Flavio Baldauci, so the MotoGP esports rider going down. There's another rider on the outside there, so that should put us up into 14th place. So back to where we started. So we'd qualified 14th, we got knocked off at turn 1, and it's taken us all the way to lap 8 to get back up to P14. So yeah, it really does kind of show that, you know, these leagues are competitive, and if you make a mistake, it's difficult to get through. And I don't know if you can see over there is another rider down, Mystic Prude, the rider that we did have contact with on the opening lap, has gone down, which puts us up into 13th position. We are now closing quite up to the back of John and Ninja. Another rider there off on the left-hand side. So this is what I was saying earlier on about it's difficult to do a whole race without making any mistakes because there's so many crashes going on, and we've moved up like a multitude of positions without actually having to overtake anyone. And speaking of overtaking anyone, we do a massive, massive moment there into turn 1. Hit the brakes, massive moment, and we almost hit the back of John and Ninja. That allowed Flavio Baldauci to come through as well. Obviously, Flavio was rapid anyway. He was coming up towards the back of us, but I gave him effectively a free overtake there with that big mistake into turn 1. And speaking of big mistakes, a little bit later on the lap, there you go, we have lost the front. You can see us spamming the reset to track button. I don't know exactly what happened there. I definitely just think a little bit strange. I think what happened was I sort of hit the brakes, and then almost like got back on the throttle because I realised I braked a bit too early, and yeah, it was a bit of a mess. Like I said, very rusty, and not done much practice on the game. We're cutting a little bit later now then. Mystic Prude comes up the inside to take that last point scoring position away from me, and if there's one thing I wanted was a point out of this race, it was not finishing outside the points, and he had a massive wheelie there. We got straight back in front of him on the outside. We actually give him a little wave there down the straight as well as we hit the brakes for the last corner. Is he going to come back up the inside? He has a look. We let the brakes off a little bit, almost contact. That was almost front to rear, which would have been bad for both of us, I think, in the braking zone. And of course, with me letting the brake off, I do run a bit wide, and he comes back through once again, but we're trying to get that slipstream. We've seen how powerful it was earlier on. We were battling with the mounted do bike. He had a massive slipstream on us and was able to get through, and once again we sort of prove it into turn 1 that we got alongside him. He braked a bit deep on the curb on the outside there, so that does allow us to have the inside. Bit of deja vu towards lap 1 there, and we do find our way back through up into that point scoring position once again, which, you know, is kind of the bare minimum, to be quite honest with you. And we're cutting a little bit later now onto the penultimate lap of the race. Actually, we are in 14th place, so maybe there was another crash in front, but it did say it was 15th when he was coming at the inside of us. And once again, STBLR is back on the mounted do bike up the inside into the last corner. So to be honest, we've been battling this guy the entire race. We try and get the cutback there, but to be honest, I probably cut back a bit too much. If I'd just cut back a bit less, got on the gas, I probably would have got the run. And once again, that OP slipstream comes in clutch. We pull to the right hand side of STBLR, and we hit the brakes for turn 1. Into turn 1 we go massively wide, though the rear end comes around on us a little bit. Is he going to come up the inside of us? Actually, Mystic tries to come up the inside, and I kind of had to pick up the bike last minute, but I think he panicked because he saw me cutting back, and yeah, it looked like he probably hit the brake or something, overloaded the front, and down he went. But as far as our race goes, that was pretty much all she wrote. So quite an action-packed one, considering it was my return. It was a P14 finish there, although I think there might have been an issue actually with somebody losing a lap, like they lagged out, so I actually think that may be where the extra position did come from, so it might actually be 15th on the final classification. Obviously here it says 14th still because it's based on the in-game one, but in terms of the championship points, I think I did actually get given 15th, but obviously for me, I'm doing a wildcard entry. The actual championship standings don't matter at all. But yeah, that just goes to show 59 seconds we were off the race winner, so just within a minute. That kind of goes to show that when you jump into GP Bikes League race, if you've not done practice, if you've not done one for a long time, it's hard, it's tough. And you can see I was a bit ring rusty there. Made some really stupid errors. Obviously, the one into turn one with John and Ninja in combat as well. Quite a few mistakes, but it does go to show. It does go to show that it's tough to come back into these. And for a one-off appearance was not good. Like I said, obviously I was kind of expecting maybe to be fighting in the top 10. But there you have it. That was my return to GP Bikes League Racing, and this is not going to be a one-off. After this, I did enter a BSB League, and I have done the full season of that. Don't worry, I am more competitive in that league than I am in this one. Obviously, this one had all the circumstances around it, with it being my return and the lack of bike time and track time. But yeah, hopefully you guys do look forward to that BSB League. It's something a little bit different as well. Obviously, a lot of the stuff on the channel is MotoGP, so you play the same sort of European circuits, whereas with BSB, you've got some strange little quirky little tracks, and they were pretty fun to race on. Obviously, try and actually keep it clean and not make too many mistakes. But if you are new to our channel, please do like the video and subscribe. It really helps me out. And of course, it is a win-win for both of us as you get some more bike game racing content in your subscription feed. But I hope you do enjoy the rest of your day, and I shall see you in the next one.